Every culture is shaped by behavior. What we tolerate, what we avoid, and what we are too uncomfortable to confront. I'm here to confront it. You've heard the word dominatrix, and you thought it meant fantasy, of course. But it means responsibility. It means discipline. It means clarity in places most people choose confusion. Because when power is misunderstood, it becomes harm. And when boundaries aren't spoken, they're violated. So we descend, not into darkness, but into honesty, into the conversations you avoid, into the patterns you repeat, into the truths that shape your relationships, your families, your future. This isn't about shock. It's about correction. It's about learning how to enforce consent, how to set limits, how to communicate through discomfort, how to hold power without abusing it. If we don't talk about it, it controls us. But if we can face it, we can grow. If you're ready to confront what most people won't, please walk with me. Let's fix what we've been avoiding. This is Confessions of a Dominatrix. Episode 19. Why Strong Women Seek Dominance. Opening. The women you wouldn't expect. The women who come to see me are not weak. They're not lost. They're not broken. They're not confused little girls looking for someone to control them. They're CEOs. They're mothers. They're managers. They're supervisors. They're attorneys. They're healers. They're in charge of a lot. These women are women who everyone else depends on. And they are exhausted. There's a growing disconnect between men and women right now. Not because one side is wrong, but because we regulate differently. Women are trained to anticipate emotion, to manage it, to absorb it, to carry the emotional weight of the room. Men are trained to suppress emotion, to fix, to provide, to move forward. So what happens? You get strong women exhausted from emotional labor, and you get strong men exhausted from emotional isolation. They're both holding too much. They're both performing strength, yes, and they're both starving for relief at the same time. The men who come to see me are seeking the same thing the women are: resolve, containment, permission to stop performing. The difference is how they get there. Women surrender through trust. Men surrender through structure. But underneath it all, they want the same thing: to stop bracing. Section 1. Walking toward the danger. There's something I can't unsee. Because I didn't just study it, I walked toward it.
While I was dominating professionally, I was also operating directly in proximity to predators, violent ones. At the same time, I would leave a session where I was holding someone safely in their surrender and step into a situation where I was bait for men who hunted women. I wasn't theorizing about danger. I was locating it, confronting it, negotiating with it, containing it. There aren't many women who choose to walk directly toward the threat, identify it, and challenge it face to face. I did. And I did it knowing full well what could happen. I've been in rooms where rage was rising, where entitlement was boiling over, where one wrong tone could flip everything. I've gotten physical. I've had to get physical. I've neutralized threats. I've taken too many hits. I've had my ribs smashed in. I've walked away bruised and beaten. I've had too many close calls that should have ended differently. And I still step back into those rooms because confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's knowing you've been in enough chaos that you trust your regulation more than the other person's instability. That kind of confidence doesn't come from fantasy. It comes from exposure. It comes from testing yourself against volatility and learning that you can still think clearly inside it. I learned how to manipulate escalation into de-escalation. I learned how to appear soft while staying fully in control. I learned how fragile ego really is, how quickly pride can turn violent, how easily humiliation can become aggression. And when you've confronted the extreme versions of volatility, you stop seeing people as categories. You start seeing patterns. You start seeing wounds. You start seeing fear underneath the rage. And when you reach someone in an intimate way, whether they're scary or not, you begin to understand what connects us all, not what separates us. You analyze. You get personal. You try to understand them before they speak. Not to excuse behavior, but because understanding protects everyone in the room. Even dangerous men are negotiating something fragile underneath the armor. That doesn't make them safe, but it makes you wiser. And when you've lived in both realities, conflict and containment, you don't see men and women as enemies. You see bracing. You see miscommunication. You see fear wearing different masks. And you see how quickly it could soften if someone stayed regulated first. Section 2. Tone of touch and the power switch. Dominance is not about force. It's about calibration. The tone of touch changes everything. A hand placed with tension feels threatening. A hand placed with intention feels grounding. Same pressure, different nervous system response. When I touch someone, I am reading breath, jaw tension, muscle bracing, micro flinches. I am adjusting constantly, because dominance isn't pushing someone down. It's controlling the power switch so it relieves them. If I overwhelm too quickly, they brace. If I stay too soft, they stay in control. There is a precise moment when someone is ready to finally let go. And if you miss it, they will retreat. Softness can dominate. Stillness can dominate. Silence can also dominate. When done correctly, the body understands. I don't have to manage this right now. And that's the exhale. Men want structure, defined edges, clear authority. Women want safety, containment, subtle regulation. Different doorway, same relief. Section 3, Profiling and Reading the Disconnect. The emails I receive tell me everything. Some are grounded, some are anxious, some are aggressive, some are testing. I profile them all. Not because I'm paranoid, but because I know patterns. I know the difference between someone seeking a release and resolve and someone seeking control over someone else. Women are navigating risk constantly. Men are navigating rejection constantly. Women are scanning for safety, and men are scanning for acceptance. Different fears, same tension. And when neither side understands the other's baseline fear, they misread each other completely. She seems guarded. He seems pushy. She seems cold. He seems entitled. But underneath it, both are bracing. Section 4, Live Containment. When I perform live with another dom, we improvise. No script, no choreography. 4 boundary questions to start off. The option for a blindfold. Touch, pressure, stillness, breath. We overwhelm together safely. And what fascinates me most is how many people ask for both of us. Because overwhelming, when done correctly, isn't chaos, it's containment. A subtle, deliberate touch says, I'm steady, I'm here, you can let go. And that trust is earned. Section 5, Teaching Women to Find Their Voice. Now, the women who come for private lessons are often timid, brilliant, capable, but quiet. Sometimes I have to disrupt them. I make them speak louder. I make them hold eye contact. I make them say no like they mean it. It's uncomfortable what I make them go through. But the shift happens when they're ready. The woman who walks in is not the woman who walks out. Because strength wasn't missing. It was buried under fear of being too much. Helping women reclaim that voice has been one of the most meaningful parts of my life. Section 6. Why strong women seek dominance. Strong women seek dominance because they are tired of being the regulator. They are tired of managing every emotional temperature in every room. They want someone else to hold it. They want to stop scanning. They want to stop bracing. They want to stop performing. And when that space is created correctly, shoulders drop. Breath deepens. Eyes soften. It isn't sexual. It's neurological. It's relief. And the men who come, they want that relief too. Different language. Same human need. To be seen. To be safe. And to stop performing. Closing. Safety is the beginning. After everything I've experienced, the predators, the negotiation, the dominance, the fear, the release, this is what I know. Safety is the foundation of all intimacy. If you don't feel safe, your body will never soften. And if you don't know yourself, you will negotiate from insecurity instead of clarity. Men ashamed of wanting structure, women ashamed of wanting surrender. People ashamed of wanting softness, ashamed of wanting intensity. Knowing yourself, what calms you, what triggers you, what steadies you. That's where the journey begins. Before dating, before dominance, before submission, before intimacy even. You have to know who you are and stop apologizing for it. Because when you know yourself, you communicate differently. You don't perform. You don't manipulate. You don't brace as hard. You say what you need. And that's where real connection begins. The disconnect between men and women won't be solved by arguing louder. It will be solved by understanding deeper. Because underneath the armor, we are negotiating fear in different ways. And if you want to get close to anyone, safety has to be the priority. Knowing yourself has to be the priority. Everything else comes after that. Thank you for listening.